Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to make sense of the most complicated corporate jargon. And today we're diving into Pulse Biosciences Inc.'s latest reports to see what is really going on under the hood. So this is a pretty straightforward report, a current report filed because the company had its annual meeting of stockholders and they needed to tell everyone how things went down with the votes on important company matters. At its core, this document is all about shareholders casting their votes on key decisions at Pulse Biosciences Inc.'s 2025 annual meeting, which happened on the 9th of December last year. The company is based in Delaware and its stock trades on the Nasdaq under the ticker symbol PLSE. Now, the big news from any annual meeting is usually who is running the show. The stockholders had to vote on electing 6 directors to lead the company until next year's meeting. This is essentially them deciding on the leadership team. It is pretty standard stuff, but absolutely crucial for the company's direction. Looking at the results for the director elections, it seems like all 6 nominees received a very strong showing for votes. For example, Robert W. Duggan got over 51 million votes in favour, compared to just over 1 million against the others, like Paula Laviolette, and Manut Soni also saw similar overwhelming support. This tells us that the shareholder are happy with the current board and want them to continue steering the ship. Next up was a vote to ratify the appointment of Deloitte and Touch LLP as the company's independent registered public accounting firm. This is basically shareholders saying yes to the company's choice of auditors who make sure their financial statements are accurate, and look good, the vote here was overwhelmingly in favor with over 63 million votes for ratification against a very small number. Then we get to something that always sparks interest: the compensation of the company's top executives. This was a non-binding advisory vote, meaning shareholders could give their opinion, but the board isn't legally obligated to follow it. The numbers here show that the majority of votes were indeed in favor of the executive compensation, about 52 million votes for compared to about 900,000 against. Finally, shareholders voted on how often they want to vote on executive compensation going forward. This means they had to decide if they want to have this advisory vote every year, every 2 years, or every 3 years. The results show a clear preference for a 3 years vote frequency, with over 32 million votes for this option. This suggests shareholders feel a yearly vote on executive pay is perhaps too frequent. Now, looking at these results broadly, what does it all mean for Pulse Biosciences Inc.? The overwhelming support for the director nominees indicates a strong level of confidence in the current leadership team. Shareholders seem to agree with the board's direction and strategy, which is always a positive sign. The ratification of Deloitte and Touch LLP as auditors also points to a healthy relationship with regulatory oversight and financial transparency. The vote on executive compensation being largely in favor suggests that while shareholders are watching executive pay, they also seem to find it reasonable, or at least acceptable for the company's current standing. The preference for a 3-year voting cycle on compensation might reflect a desire to give executives more runway without constant scrutiny, or perhaps a belief that annual votes do not significantly alter outcomes. However, it is important to remember that the vote on executive compensation is advisory. This means while shareholders voice their approval, the board still has the final say in setting pay packages. Also, the broker non-votes are quite significant in almost all these proposals, around 10 million votes in director elections and executive compensation votes. These are shares held by a broker on behalf of a client who has not instructed the broker how to vote. While not necessarily negative, it does mean a substantial portion of potential shareholder voice was not actively expressed on these matters. In conclusion, Pulse Biosciences Inc. seems to be in a stable place with its leadership and financial oversight. The shareholders have largely endorsed the current path forward. The key takeaway here is the company has a board that its shareholders trust and a clear mandate for how often they will provide advisory input on executive pay. It is not a report filled with dramatic shifts, but rather a calm affirmation of the status quo, which can be a good thing for stability. Alright, that is our breakdown of Pulse Biosciences Inc.'s latest filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps. And subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord linked in the description below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.